Let's talk Villa, and hopefully after the international break we are going to have Boubacar Kamara returning to first team training, ready to be in contention for the first team squad. But it got me thinking, our midfield is probably our most stacked department in our entire squad, to be honest with you. So where does Kamara even fit in? Do we change formation, or do we have to just fit him in and drop out one of the players that's done so well for us at the start of the season? We are going to be covering all of that today. We're going to be going through our tactics and comparing him against our current crop of midfielders. If you do enjoy this type of content with tactical analysis, as well as talking about how on earth players are going to fit into our team, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more, and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss a single one of my Aston Villa videos. Let's get into it. The first thing we have to do is go over to our current crop of midfielders. Now, obviously some of these players don't particularly play in the central part of the pitch, so we are going to completely eliminate them from the picture. John McGinn I'm not considering for this video in terms of squad depth. Same with Emi Buendia. We are going to be considering Tielemans and Barkley in this video. We're not going to obviously be considering Jadon. We are going to be looking at Amadou Onana as well as Boubacar Kamara. The rest of these players don't particularly play that midfield role. So what I've done is I've pulled up Kamara's stats from last season. So obviously the stats are going to be a little bit skewed because he's played more games, pardon me. Played 20 games last season before his injury. Then we're going to compare him against Tielemans, Onana and Ross Barkley from this season. Obviously at the moment Tielemans and Onana is our starting midfield partnership, and they have been doing a very, very good job. Specifically Tielemans, I've been more than impressed with him. So if we go down here, I've got a few metrics that I think would be interesting to look at to get a vibe for what type of player Kamara is compared to who we are playing at the moment. Now obviously he is much more like Onana than he is Tielemans. Tielemans is a much more of a Douglas Luiz player than he is a Kamara player. Kamara, very, very good being a holding midfielder, kind of like an anchor quarterback just in front of the back four, which means that you need that second midfielder to be the one that progresses the ball up the pitch. I don't know if Onana can do that. Let's look at the stats. However, Onana does have 2 goals this season. Obviously, both have come from set pieces, so we can't really look too much into that. Again, minutes, etc., shots, we're not going to look too much into. But I wanted to say, obviously, he's played 1,659 minutes compared to about 250 on average from Onana and Tielemans, and then the 42 from Barkley. In that time, Tielemans has already got almost, a sixth and eighth of the open play passes that Kamara's got, and has also got the same amount of assists. Now again, Onana, not really that type of player that's going to be controlling the midfield. Pass accuracy wise, Onana actually leading the pack at 93, but 89 is actually pretty decent. Again, Tielemans is playing different types of balls as well, and we're going to be looking into that throughout this video. If we go down again, you can see the long pass attempted, completed. It favours Tielemans as well, although to be fair, Kamara had a decent amount of chances there created. Again, crosses, it all favours Tielemans, crossing accuracy. Through balls, again, Tielemans nearly already at the same level as Kamara in, a fifth of the games. And if you look at his breakdown here, opposition half 66, own half 61, whereas Kamara more passes in his own half. Again, forward passes, you look at the disparity between Tielemans and Onana, and the fact that, if he plays every minute of every game, when he gets to 20 games, he will have more than 469 passes. He's already on nearly 50, so only a fifth of Kamara's in an eighth of the playing time, if not less. Backward passes, a lot less. Sideways passes, a lot less as well. Again, absolutely dwarfs Onana's. He's not in the team to do that kind of job. But again, tackles made, actually, he is not doing too bad. His take on success, Onana absolutely blowing everyone out the field here. And then again, defensively, you can see Tielemans starts to drop off in terms of his defensive contribution, especially compared to the likes of Kamara, who was just all over. I mean, defensively, he was an absolute star for us last season. We look at Ross Barkley, again, different type of player, great passing accuracy there. Chances created, already created a chance as well in only, 42 minutes. And again, good at carrying the ball forward. But these stats don't really tell the whole story. So let's look at their lifetime stats here on FB Refs. This is Kamara, Tielemans, Onana and Barkley. Again, you can see in their career, Onana clearly played less minutes. He's the youngest out of the bunch. And we're going to be looking at a couple of metrics that I think are slightly interesting. So in terms of shooting, again, you see shots in the career already. Onana has had more than Kamara in what was it, like a quarter of the playing time, maybe a half of the playing time. There you go. Goals, again, Tielemans and Ross Barkley way exceeding everyone else's metric there as well. Same with shot percentages, shots per 90. I think this is an interesting stat to look at. Onana nearly at the same level as Tielemans, but Kamara, you can see a complete drop-off in his offensive contributions to a team. If we go down to their passing, it will become quite apparent that there is one leader in this department. If you look at passes completed, Yuri Tielemans more than everyone, although Kamara actually is quite up there in terms of passes as well. Something that you may not have expected, just behind a Ross Barkley in terms of passes per 90 played. Completion wise, again, Tielemans is the least, but he's completed so many more passes than everyone else. Kamara actually doing the most there. Again, if you go progressive distance, this is passes that have progressed the team up the pitch. Kamara and Tielemans both leading the way. You would have thought Ross Barkley would have been more, but again, a career marred by injuries and inconsistencies. In terms of short passes completed, medium and long passes, Tielemans again leading the bunch quite comfortably and quite easily there. And then assists as well. I mean, there's a clear sense of who is actually getting these passes done in the offensive side of the pitch. And then progressive passes as well. Tielemans blowing everyone out of the water. And you can see there their pass types as well. In terms of goal and shot creation, again, it's Barkley and Tielemans leading the pack. However, Onana actually rushing forward out of the gates. Again, only half the playing time of Kamara, and yet nearly created as many live passing, shot creating actions as him. Again, Kamara fantastic at controlling the tempo in the backward side of the pitch, not so fantastic going forward, creating those goal chance actions there, as you can see. Defensively, again, Kamara is going to shine in this sense. You know, you can see it here. His tackles only second to Tielemans, who has way more playing time than him, and it is all very, very close. His tackle percentage very, very high, not as high as Onana's. Obviously, Onana, another player who defensively is outstanding. Barkley, this is where he starts to really drop off, although he has just taken up that new role in his career. Touches, you can see Kamara and Tielemans. Again, Barkley was playing on the left, on the right. Cam, not really getting as involved in games as a number 10 as he probably would have liked. When you're playing the type of positions that Tielemans and Kamara play in the teams that they're playing, they are going to naturally get more touches. You look at the 90s completed as well. Barkley just there and thereabouts. Attacking third, though, you can see that's where Barkley begins to take over, and Tielemans just absolutely, again, blows everyone out the water. Their take on success ratio, Tielemans and Barkley, again, right up there. And then their carries, this is their carries going forward, progressing a team up the pitch. Really interested in seeing that. You see total distance, very, very close, almost neck and neck between Tielemans and Kamara there. Distance, however, Tielemans again starts to take over quite comfortably, and then playing time, miscellaneous stats we're not going to look at too much. But that does beg the question then, we know what types of players they are. How on earth do they even fit all of these people into that Villa team? So this is our current strongest lineup. If I move slightly out of the way there, you'll be able to see, I don't think this is really going to be disrupted that much this season, considering the signings that we have made. So again, it begs the question, where does Kamara fit into this team? I don't think we're going to be replacing this midfield four anytime soon. Now, Kamara has seemed to have bulked up a little bit more. He was probably a little bit frail, not frail, but not the strongest on the ball last season. He seems to, again, have addressed that in this time that he has had off due to injury, and he looks a lot more physically imposing. But Onana and Tielemans have this brilliant mix at the moment. Obviously, Onana adds something to the team that Kamara can't, and that is that physical presence in terms of height and aerial ability. So I don't think Onana gets taken out of this team. So that only leaves Tielemans, who again has been one of our outstanding players this season. I'll pop some stats that I've seen about him up on the screen for you. But in terms of chance creation, dominating the game from midfield, being a tempo creator, finding those pockets of space and those brilliant passes, he has been, again, one of our best players this season, if not our best player this season. I've been so impressed when I have watched him. So where does he go? Again, in possession, Onana can drop, Onana can break. Tielemans is always in a pocket looking for that outlet, which is usually Rodgers, who has dug a little bit deeper. Now, what I do worry is if we change Tielemans to Kamara, where's the creativity coming from? Onana, yes, again, he can take a player on, he can run with the ball. Let's be honest, his passing range and ability probably isn't that of a Tielemans, and Kamara, we know, isn't that type of player. He isn't the type of player that's going to pick that incisive pass, unlock something. He isn't a Douglas Luiz. That's why him and Douglas Luiz worked so well last season, is because Douglas Luiz was that type of player and Tielemans could just hold and allow Douglas Luiz that freedom. Now, we need Onana in a defensive sense this season, because without him, we lose so much ability and aggression in the air. And again, offensively, we need Onana in the team. So, I mean, I just don't know. I don't think Barkley factors in to this starting lineup in terms of the Premier League at all this season, bar injury and rest and rotation for Champions League fixtures, if anyone can even go to them with the pricing issues. Watkins and Rodgers are pretty set up front. I would like to see Duran get a run. McGinn and Ramsey, again, very similar types of players. However, I don't think that's going to be changed too much. Bailey perhaps could be the one where if his form dips that you could see a replacement coming in. But then we have Jadon, who can come in to the right-hand side of the pitch. So the only thing I can think of that you could do is if you put Rodgers out wide, maybe. Does that stifle him as a creative player? And then you have Kamara sitting with Onana, and then if we swap Bailey round to Tielemans here, does that work as a 3? But then you have to drop McGinn because he's not a left winger. So you'd have to bring in, I don't even know who you put on the left rim. Maybe Ramsey goes there. Perhaps Jadon, who naturally is a left winger, comes in and that's your front 3. But does that midfield 3 work? Yes, in terms of possession it would work. But we're not a possession team this season. You know, we've conceded possession in every single game that we play. We're not a pressing team this season. We don't press. I've seen graphs come out and we're right on the lower end of pressing intensity and time with the ball, i.e. possession. So I don't know if you switch to this midfield 3 and you risk just, you know, that balance of the 4-4-2 that we have. So where, again, does Kamara fit? Now look, this is just a brilliant problem to have for an Aston Villa fan, to see your midfield, your central midfielders so stacked. And again, it's such an important part of the pitch. Now, we have a really good balance at the moment, like I've said. Onana and Tielemans, I think, have been one of the better central midfield partnerships in the Premier League this season. People will probably argue that, but in terms of their balance and how they play off of each other, again, they've been nothing short of absolutely outstanding. So I don't think you interrupt that. But Kamara's so good. We saw him last season. He's so good. But I just can't see Kamara and Onana working. The only combination I could see working with Kamara is Tielemans, because Tielemans is very much taken up the Douglas Luiz mantle this season. But you just can't drop Onana. He's been an outstanding player. He's been one of our standout players. He's got 2 goals. He's defensively here, there and everywhere in the air, winning everything that's thrown at him. It is such a hard decision, and that's why I want your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Where on earth does Kamara fit into this team? Because I just don't know, but he has to get his playing time because he's that good.